Hey, what's up, Eric? It's Bruce, Awesome Arcades. So I'm going to open your email. I'm going to read it. I'll answer your questions. And then as I'm answering them, I'm going to put the phone down like this. But I'll pick it up throughout the email and just answer your questions. All right. So you said, hey, Bruce, I found your website. I'm not going to show the screen because I'm going to put this on YouTube and I can't show your contact info. They'll flag it. Bruce found your website, considering purchasing a cabinet. Right now I have options in a picture in my mind, but I would also like to wrap the control panels with black carbon fiber and an LED strip. The cost for the black carbon or any control panel decal, it's $100. That's parts and labor. And then for the LED strip, it's $75. If you haven't done so yet and you would like to see photographs, I've got a ton of photographs in the product description. And then I usually try to put like a descriptor of what it is that you'd be looking at in the thumbnail. But if you haven't seen it yet, I have a ton of videos of cabinets. So every time I ship a cabinet, I do like a 60-second walk around, just a 360. I do that for insurance. And I also I text you the cabinet to make sure that it looks right before I pack it. It's just easier to fix problems before I ship them than after. During Christmas, when I was shipping like 20 games a day, I put together some videos of just compilations, like 60-second walk arounds. So if you want, click the YouTube link on the top of my website. And if you click some of these, like this guy and some of these more recent ones, a lot of them will show you the different wraps and finishes. Black carbon fiber is obviously super popular. There's also a new one that you may want to consider. It's called Black Indestructible. And again, on the website, there's the YouTube link. But if you click that, my Google reviews or Google business page, if you scroll down and click on one of the photos, there are hundreds of customer submitted photos. In there, you can see a split cabinet where I have done, I can't remember the colleges. I know one was USC, because my wife went to USC. So one was like a half USC and half Army, I think it was. But if you haven't seen that one, let me know and I'll dig that one up. But if you want, scroll through these images and you could check out, in addition to the black carbon fiber, check out Black Indestructible. Indestructible is like a textured material. It's almost like the same type of material they'd put on the running boards of a pickup truck when you step into a truck so you don't slip. I like it because it's super thick and durable and it's new. Most people get black carbon fiber, but that's also a function of the fact that it's been around a lot longer. The black carbon fiber is new and most people now are opting to get that one. So I wanted to make sure you see it. Let's see. For the joystick and buttons, oh, by the way, with regard to add-ons, so obviously on the website, it limits how many options you can put in the shopping cart. And where is my shopping cart? There it is. So like, for example, trim. If I listed every color that I have, which I think there's 8, every time you add an option, the website has to create a shopping cart option that includes every option during checkout. And when you have like 9 choices with 9 different drop downs, it gets into the tens of millions of possible combinations and it just crashes the website, or at least it makes it respond very slowly. So that's why under some things I just put, tell me the color, and then during checkout there's a place for notes. So for any upgrades that are not included, like control panel decals, the LED wrap, that is a place, that is a thing that you just put that information in the checkout notes, and then I would email you a supplemental invoice where you would just pay for the additional upgrade costs. I never ship until all the options are confirmed. Again, that's why I do the video, just to make sure that I've got it right. So don't worry, it's not something that would get overlooked. I'm not gonna ship you, if somebody puts colored and I don't hear from them, I always reach out and say, which color did you want? I don't just, put yellow or something like that. So let's see. With regard to the buttons, so, and it says this on the website, there's a bunch of button colors that I include for free. There's a few different button colors that I have to charge for. And the reason for that, I had somebody ask me a few months ago, there was an arcade company that went out of business and they had thousands of buttons. And so I used to charge for anything non-standard. So red was what was included in the base price. And if anybody got something other than red, I would just charge them full retail because I'd have to go on eBay and like buy whatever, new buttons. A company went out of business and I bought all of their buttons, and I've got lots of different buttons in stock, but unfortunately they did not have purple, pink, gold, and silver. So what it says on the website is I can still get those button colors, but I charge for them. So it sounds like the button colors that you're getting are included in the price, so there's no additional cost. I've got yellow, I've got orange. I've also got blue joysticks, so no problem there. The only thing I would charge for are the purple joysticks. The purple joysticks are $37.50 each. And again, that would just be handled through a supplemental invoice. Before ordering, can you tell me the complete price with those options and the shipping included? So for shipping, I use a standard flat rate of $395. Sometimes it costs more if you live in a remote area. And what shipping companies consider remote is not always what people expect. There's like some places in the middle of Los Angeles they consider remote just because of the traffic situation. If you could reply with your zip code and then I'll tell you the shipping. Probably 95% of shipments are called zone 1 or standard rates. So it's unlikely that it would be more than that. So pretty safe to assume $395 would be the flat rate. But just to be on the safe side, reply with your zip code and then just tell me, is it shipping to a private residence, like to your house, or would it be going to a business? Let's see, with regard to the artwork, so I have some standard options that are included in the base price, and then it sounds like you wanted to get something custom made. If you click on this YouTube link and you scroll down, I think it's like probably the 12th video. Here it is. That is my 16th most recent video. It's about a year old. And if you can't find it, just tell me, I'll send you a direct link. How to order custom artwork from Game On Graphics. So there's two potential situations, or two potential companies, I should say, that are gonna be involved with ordering custom art. There's the print shop and potentially a graphic designer. The print shop guy has limited skills. He can do kind of basic stuff. And if you're just pulling graphics from on the internet, he can transfer those to the artwork, kind of move stuff around. What he can't really do very well, and if you ask him, he'll tell you he can do this, but he can't. He's not really good at like drawing stuff from scratch. So creating custom tailored artwork. For that kind of stuff, I use a graphic designer. And just to give you an example, if you go to my website, like the top that I use, it says arcade. It's in a font, it's a little hard to see there. Let me open this. It's in a font that looks just like Pac-Man in two of the corners. So my graphic designer created that. And obviously I'm trying to make it as close to Pac-Man as I can without getting sued. And so my graphic designer created these. He also created this one. And then I've got a brand new one coming out that says Back to the Arcade, and it's got stuff from like Back to the Future on it. Anyway, long way of saying, depending on the complexity of the job, the printing of it, just printing the artwork, is usually around $75. And then the graphic design for like a full mock-up from the ground up, completely created from scratch, would usually be about $75. That's in addition, separate from the print shop. You probably, given the fact that these are two, popular college teams, you probably won't need graphic design work. You're just gonna need this guy to place the stuff. Just so you know, if you wanna find images, if you go to Google and you're looking for images that you wanna use for the top, and that video that I just told you about, it'll kind of tell you more about how to do this. In fact, I'll leave this video short. I'll keep it short. Reference that video that I told you about on YouTube, and I will guide you on what type of information you need to provide to the guy and where you can find artwork information. And just assume if you decide to move forward, you've got me on speed dial, so we can talk or text or figure it all out. So yeah, $75 for the print, and then $75 for graphic design if necessary, which I'm probably thinking you don't need it. Is the link to the JAMA board on the site the most current one? So there's lots of places where it's linked on the website. To the best of my knowledge, all the links are accurate. The game card that you want is called the Pandora DX. And the Pandora DX is a specifically designed board that is used on three-sided cabinets. So what makes this particular board unique? It's actually two independent or standalone game cards in one cartridge. So it's a game card that plays on this side of the cabinet. And then if you want to get up and change where you're sitting, where you close the lid, there's actually another game card that switches. So basically consider like two CDs, and inside this thing, there's a CD changer. So when you're sitting here, it's CD A, and then you push a button and it changes over to CD B. That's what's happening in this specific custom game board. For that reason, you need to get that specific game board. There's only 3 game boards in the world that have ever been able to do this functionality that I'm talking about. And I discussed it a little bit on the website, but the first one came out in like 2010. The next one came out in 2017. This one that we're talking about is called the Pandora DX. It's from 2022. So it's certainly the newest. It's the cutting edge, kind of state of the art. There are other ways that you can connect a light gun setup to this cabinet, but it would require getting a different board. Now, as far as changing the boards, this cabinet is designed for you to be able to change the game cards. It's just like a VCR. You take the tape out of one, put it in the other. I can change a game board in this thing in 5 seconds. You just unplug one, plug in another. You don't even have to turn the cabinet off. So if you wanted to get a setup that has light guns, it would be in addition to the standard game card that you need that plays on the horizontal side and the vertical side. There's a couple different ways to do it. There's one called a gaming console. It's called a Batocera. It's like a Raspberry Pi, and it has a light gun setup. There's also a JAMA board that you can get called the Pandora 10th Anniversary Edition. Now, the Pandora 10th Anniversary Edition does play with light guns, but it's only designed for a stand-up 2-player cabinet. So you can play it on this machine, but it only plays here. It doesn't have the function where it's flipping over here. In addition, it doesn't support trackballs. So you can't use your trackballs on the Pandora 10th Anniversary Edition, but it does support light guns. And as you can imagine, that's why I don't really mention it on the website, because it sometimes kind of confuses people. But basically, that's a long way of saying, if you really want light guns, absolutely you can get them. There's a couple different ways to accomplish that. I'll just let you know, light guns are not cheap. The technology required to make a light gun that is compatible with LED was a pretty complicated engineering problem. Just to put it in perspective, we meaning us in the arcade industry, have wanted light guns since the days of CRT tube TVs and Duck Hunt and Nintendo, and it was very complicated to make one. There was a British company like 5 years ago that raised millions of dollars through a Kickstarter campaign called Sinden, and they began releasing the first iterations of light guns that were compatible with LED/LCD screens about 3 years ago. They've, within the last like 18 months, started selling them, nationally on a big scale. The guns are usually around $200 or $300 each per gun, plus the software. So like a decent setup for a light gun would be, $600, and it goes up from there. So I just don't want to shock you, but that's kind of what it would be. Okay, I'm gonna put the phone down. Okay, gosh, so I'm holding the phone. Can you grab a pen and paper? I'm gonna just read this off here. Well, I'll get you a summary and I'll probably put it in the email. But so the base price for the cabinet, $19.95 is the base price for the 26-inch cabinet. So it sounds like you got that. So 29. Here, let me get the calculator out here. You know what? No, I'm not going to keep you on the phone. So I'll end this video and then I will put a summary of the price along with a breakdown, and then let me know if you have any questions. Let me just skim your email. Other than price, was there anything else? Oh, is the link to the JAMA board on the site? So if you want, send me the link that you're looking at on the website and I'll just confirm. But if you just Google Pandora DX, I'm almost positive it's still for sale on Amazon, unless sometimes they sell out and it's just out of stock. But the Amazon listing should work. If not, there's a company in Texas called DIY Retro Arcade that sells them. Let me know if you have any issues locating it, but there's a lot of places that sell it. If you can't find it from either one of those, just for the sake of argument, there's 1,000 companies in China you could buy it from. I use what's called Alibaba, which is kind of like Chinese Amazon, and I buy stuff from there all the time. You could get it here in 10 days that way as well. Also, that's usually the cheapest way to do it if you're interested. Okay, I'll upload this and send it over now. Thanks.